Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Maria and I make personal development content here on YouTube. And so in today's video, I wanted to come on here and talk about 3 ways that God turns your pain into purpose. And honestly, when we think about all the pain that we have been through throughout life, it can sometimes really sadden us and really just make us, if we're being honest, be like, God, what happened? Like, what was the purpose of this? Like, why did you allow me to go through this? Like, what was the reason, God? Like, whatever questions you may have, or whatever things you want to kind of just get answers to. And we are not to question God in a sense of questioning his decisions, but more so just questioning for like understanding, like, God, please expose to me, please reveal to me like what the purpose of this situation was for me. But I wanted to give 3 examples of ways that God actually turns our pain into purpose. So the first example that I like to think of is, if you are having like a rough time at work, or if you have recently been laid off from your job. I've been seeing how the unemployment rates are. I've been seeing how many people are on unemployment right now. I've been seeing just like how people are really struggling to find good talent, as far as like an HR perspective, and just all these different things. And so I think that a lot of people right now kind of feel at mercy to their jobs. Like, they feel like, they can't say or they can't do the wrong thing because they may be the next one out the door. Or, you may just feel like, you kind of have to just go with the flow, and you have to just do things that you may not always agree with or align with, just because it's just like, well, I don't want to ruffle any feathers. I don't want to start anything because I need my job. Or, you may just feel at mercy. Or, for example, you may have something that, like I said, you may end up getting laid off, or something will happen, or something is maybe happening right now where you are just like, you know what, I just do not feel good about what's going on right now, and I really feel like I am kind of just like at the mercy of something, at the mercy of my job, because finances and bills and all these things. And so one way that God will actually turn whatever pain you're going through, whether you just find yourself crying every day when you get home from work, crying on your break, crying before you start your day at work, whatever the situation may be, or crying because you are struggling to find another job, or crying because you've just been recently laid off, whatever the situation may be, God is turning your pain into purpose. And one way that I like to think about how he turns your pain into purpose, because he actually did this for me, is I was laid off from my job, from my old job, about a year ago now, and I put some videos up about that. But in that time, I was actually able to really kick up things with my clientele and focusing on my business and doing all those things. And so in the time when it first happened, I'm devastated. I'm crying. I'm very upset. Like, I'm like, I don't know how in the world I'm supposed to be able to pay for anything. Things are so expensive. Like, this is insane. And then I started to realize that God was actually turning my pain into purpose, whereas I was able to now be able to live in my purpose and devote more of my time to my purpose. Not only that, but there may be an instance where you find yourself like going through something right now, whether that's like you have struggles on the job and you're just arguing back and forth with people or things like that, and then that actually may become your purpose, where you are able to give tips to people on how they handle conflict at work and how to address certain situations, microaggressions, whatever the case may be, because that is something that you have experienced. And so now you actually may be able to live in that purpose and being able to help people save their jobs that may not have the skills that you have, to be able to kind of like minimize or kind of speak through a situation without getting things escalated. And I'm sorry, I'm all like taught, like my speech is just not coming out well today. But so you, back on the topic, you just are not able, you just are able to help people out and give them tips in ways that you were able to de-escalate a situation and still be able to keep your job. So that's the first example of a way that God will actually turn your pain into purpose. The second way that God will be able to turn your pain into purpose is, or second example, I should say, is that you may be experiencing something that is really causing you a lot of heartache, a lot of hurt, a lot of pain. An example of this is for me, for my scalp condition, seborrheic dermatitis. And I've talked about this before, but it really honestly bears repeating, because there were days where I just felt like, God, I don't know what I can eat without me getting a flare up. Like, I just was like, I was losing weight significantly because I just could not eat anything without it causing me a flare up. I just honestly, I got to a point where I almost was really hopeless. And it was not until I just finally like was talking to my hairdresser, and she was like, oh, like, you know, maybe you want to look into a holistic doctor. And then I went ahead and did that. And that was, well, actually, she told me that she was looking at a holistic doctor, and I was like, maybe I should go look into that. And then I did it. And so things have been going so much better. But that is definitely an avenue that I have thought about going into, because I'm like, you know what, there is a lot of pain that I've experienced there. And so I can speak to that, and I can be able to help people with their mental capacity and you know, their emotional capacity, and dealing with something that is just so frustrating. And then not only that too, but just being able to share things that have worked for me. And like, again, I'm not a holistic doctor, but just being able to share like different dietary changes that I've been able to make, and different things like that, where I've been able to be of help. I have been able to be helped, and then can be able to be of help to other people. And that also can turn into like a business venture or something like that. Whereas God has now turned my pain into purpose. And so I find like those two examples maybe kind of coincide a little bit. But another example that I want to talk about is relationships, and your failed relationships. And maybe, you know, when you were younger or in your past, you may have never really settled down. You may be used to situationships. You may kind of have been used to friends with benefits, and you've never really been at a place where you have set a boundary with other people, or, you know, with men or with women, whatever, whichever gender you are. But you just kind of just felt like you were unworthy of being in a committed relationship. So you may have just kind of like slept with different people, or kind of just like, you know, just kind of had like very casual type of relationships. And so now you may be in that space now where you're able to speak to a different aspect of that, and just be able to talk about what you were going through in that time, and how you have come out of that now, and what you have done to be able to now feel confident to speak up for yourself and say, yes, I want to settle down into a relationship. Yes, I want to do this, and I want to do that. And, you know, unfortunately, some people do come out with different elements from, you know, sleeping around with different people and things like that. So if that is you, that is something that you can be able to speak to and guide young kids and young children and people, you know, that are active right now, and being able to tell them the dangers of it, right? So these are all ways in that God could actually turn your pain into purpose. And I think that, you know, we have got to start to focus on the purpose-driven part of it, because a lot of the times when we think about the pain, it's just so painful, we just want to ignore it, and we're just like, nope, I want to get it out of my head right now. I don't even want to think about it. I don't even want to bask in it, any of those things. But it is actually the pain that we experience where God creates the most beautiful things. Like, the most beautiful things, and everything that we go through, whether we go through it by our own doing or whether God allows us to go through it, either way, they are to set us up for us to be able to live in a greater purpose. And so if that's something that you are desiring to do, I really honestly encourage this so much, because I think that it's something that everybody in the world needs. Everybody in the world needs someone who we can say, wow, we identify with that person. That person has been through what I have been through. And I just think about, like, maybe for example, another example I thought about was when maybe you struggled with reading at a young age, and you know it was something that you really could not get down pat, and then you had to end up going to tutoring, and so now you're able to teach other people how to read or how to write or things like that. So it's all these different type of pains that you may have went through as a child or even as an adult that you are able to now turn into purpose. And so now you're kind of helping other people and you're guiding other people so that they don't have to experience the exact pain that you have been through. So really, that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this was helpful for you, and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye-bye.